In this video, we will explore the deeper meaning of the planet Saturn in astrology and learn important connections to Saturn in mythology. We will also look at the spiritual principle that underlies Saturn in the Tree of Life, and why the planetary principle is about taking responsibility for one's own destiny and about the principle of karma. Brotherhood of the Eternal Light, teaching the Western mysteries. This video is part of our series on Qabbalistic Astrology. Saturn. Saturn, the Old One, rules with severity for the span of one's life work and one's own destiny. Basic meaning. In the symbol for Saturn, the cross and the crescent moon are united. The astrological symbol of the planet Saturn is used in alchemy for the metal lead. In alchemy, lead is the first of the metals. It is the initial substance, the prima materia, which is gradually refined and transformed into gold. This process symbolizes the development of the personality and soul of man. Lead is a very heavy metal. This symbolizes the burden of earthly destiny and the quality of Saturn's severity. Saturn in Hebrew is called Shabtai. The Sephirah on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life that underlies the meaning of Saturn is Binah. The Sephirah Binah is on the spiritual plane and on the level of the soul called Neshama. The Neshama corresponds to our higher or true self. This is the part of us that is responsible for our life purpose and for our destiny across incarnations. When we explore our soul in meditations, for example, with the meditation of the inner temple, the higher guardian angel corresponds to the Neshama. The importance of Binah is clarified by the assignments of the mother letter Mem and the pillar of severity. The Mem represents the passive, receptive aspect of form, while the pillar of severity represents the constraining forces of the universe. The Sephirah Binah is accordingly passive or absorbing and restricting. Binah is the principle of higher insight and bitter realization. The rings of Saturn can be seen as a band that runs around the planet. It is symbolically considered the outer band of limitation and alludes to the limiting, confining function of Binah. Therefore, Saturn corresponds to the responsibility for one's own destiny, and the qualities of severity and discipline are assigned to it. Saturn in mythology. Ninurta is the god of war and hunting. He is also the god of craftsmanship, making the tools of civilization out of raw materials. Ninurta fights for order and civilization against chaos. The equivalent of Saturn in Egyptian mythology is Geb. Geb is the god of the earth. With Nuit, the goddess of the sky, his sister and consort, they created the 4 generations of gods: Osiris, Isis, Seth, Nephthys, and Horus. Geb represents the fertility of the earth and the harvest. He also symbolizes the aspect of the earth that swallows and conceals and imprisons the dead. We clearly see the function of the Sephirah Binah as a limiting principle. Kronos is the equivalent of Saturn in Greek mythology. In ancient times, the name Kronos was associated with time. Thus, Kronos became the god of time and god of age. Kronos emasculated his father, Uranus, with a sickle made of adamant, which he received from his mother Gaia because Kronos had pushed their common children back into the deep earth, the womb of Gaia, and locked them up there. Afterwards, Kronos ascended the throne of the gods. However, he was prophesied the same fate as that suffered by his father through him, and so he devoured all his children after their birth. As we can see from the story of his son Zeus, this strategy was not successful, and the prophecy came true. Again, the absorbing and limiting aspect of the Sephirah Binah and its vices is evident in the form of excessive inhibition, which is symbolically represented by the devouring. In addition, the theme of karma is addressed in this mythological story. Karma means effect or deed. It is about the responsibility for one's own fate or deeds. These meanings are closely related to the Sephirah Binah, the spiritual principle underlying Saturn's meaning. Responsibility for one's destiny is a theme that is clearly reflected in the astrological meaning of Saturn. Saturn is the Roman god of the harvest and sometimes of the vine. He was often depicted with the sickle of the grain farmers or the billhook of the vintners because, according to tradition, he gave man the art of wine and agriculture. Here we find emphasized the aspect of hard work in and with the conditions of inert matter, and often slowly obtainable rewards of the fruits of disciplined earthly labor. Astrological meaning. Saturn's position in the horoscope shows how and in what area of life we practice discipline, self-restraint, and seriousness. Saturn's virtues are silence in due time, discipline, as well as taking responsibility for one's own destiny. Saturn's vices are undue restriction and inhibition, excessive severity, and avarice and grief. Movement and speed. Saturn takes about 29 years to make a complete orbit through the zodiac. It moves about 12 degrees annually and therefore takes about 2.5 years to pass through one of the zodiac signs. Saturn is retrograde for about 4 to 5 months annually. Domination and exile. Saturn rules Capricorn on the one hand and is in exile in Cancer on the other. Saturn's actions are consistent with the nature of the sign Capricorn. In the sign of Capricorn, it is particularly concerned with ambition and achievement. For where ambition and achievement play a special role, Saturn's rigor and discipline can develop optimally. In the sign of Cancer, on the other hand, where sensitivity is involved, Saturn's inhibiting power prevents fertility and conception. Saturn also rules in Aquarius and is in exile in Leo. Saturn's actions are also consistent with the nature of the sign Aquarius. Saturn is considered the ancient ruler of the sign Aquarius. Since the discovery of the outer planets, Uranus also rules there. In the sign of Aquarius, which is about transpersonal ideals of freedom and human rights, Saturn's virtue can be carried out with seriousness. But remember well, he who desires freedom must always bear the burden of responsibility for the consequences of his actions. In Leo, the nature of Saturn does not come into its own, because its inhibiting energy restricts Leo's self-expression. Exaltation and Fall. Saturn is exalted in Libra and is in fall in Aries. Saturn's influence is in harmony with the nature of the sign Libra, for through the scales of justice, the power of destiny can be realized. As right deeds sow right seeds. In Aries, on the other hand, Saturn's nature does not come out well because Saturn's calm, disciplined severity inhibits Aries' impulsive expression of power. Let's summarize the meanings of Saturn. Symbol. Spiritual principle. Binah, the principle of higher insight and bitter realization. Influence. Saturn shows how and in what area we practice discipline, self-restraint, and seriousness. Virtues. Silence at the right time. Discipline, taking responsibility for one's own destiny. Vices. inhibition, avarice, excessive restriction or limitation, grief, excessive severity. Rulership, Capricorn and Aquarius. Exaltation, Libra, Exile, Cancer and Leo. Fall, Aries. Orbit, about 29 years. We hope you have enjoyed our comprehensive video about the planet Saturn in Qabbalistic astrology. Please don't go anywhere just yet. Take a moment and write to us in the comments in which area of life and in which way you experience the power of Saturn in your life. Support our work with your like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to activate the bell for updates on new videos. See you soon!